Hey everyone, Gabriel with Gabriel's Hobby Studio here. Today I have a science experiment version of my previous video, where I went over using solder couplings as barrels for wargaming and role-playing games. These couplings are made of copper, and that means that we can oxidize and patina them. There is one catch though. I will only be using things that I can find in my house already. I will not be using any special items that couldn't already be found in most homes, or at least in my area of the world. Now before we begin, it's disclaimer time. I have 4 different products that I'll be using: a solution of salt water, a solution of vinegar and salt, Windex, and eggs. Each coupling will be placed in their respective solutions for a period of 24 hours, after which they will be checked on. If the desired effect has not been reached, then I'll allow them to sit in their respective solutions for another 24 hours, repeating this process as needed until the desired effect is reached. And some of them will just be coated in the solution and allowed to react to the normal air. The reasoning behind using all of these solutions and/or products is that they are commonly found in most homes already, and I wanted to make this as easy as possible and for a large amount of people to be able to try this if they wanted to. Now, without further delay, let's begin the experiment. I have a jar of salt water here. I'm just going to give this a shake to mix the solution back up, and then I'll be submerging one coupling in the salt water, and the other one will be coated in it and placed on the lid of this jar to interact with the air. The next one is vinegar and salt. I'm doing the same as with the last one into the solution and then the other one coated and placed on top of the lid. In this jar, I have ammonium hydroxide, a household form of ammonia which can be found in low concentrations in some common cleaning supplies. I found that Windex actually contains a fair amount, and it should be enough for this experiment. I've poured a small amount into a glass jar, and I have a smaller glass jar inside that the couplings will sit into. This way, they will not come into direct contact with the Windex solution. I'm wanting the fumes from the ammonia to circle the object and not be in direct contact with the liquid. We will just take this coupling and coat it in that vinegar salt solution and then place it inside of the container. Because this is a low concentration, it will likely take longer to begin working, but we'll soon find out. Eggs? Really? Yes. There is a chemical that you can get that is called liver of sulfur. Once mixed with water, it can be used to patina copper. Liver of sulfur is mainly a tool for coloring coppers, silvers, and alloys of those metals. After hard-boiling eggs, they begin to release a sulfur smell. I thought maybe I could use this as a substitute for the liver of sulfur. I've already hard-boiled some eggs, and I'm going to mash them up. I will be using tissue paper to separate the coupling from the egg, just so there's no direct contact from egg to copper. Here, just like with the ammonia, I'm going to be relying on the fumes more than any direct contact with the solution. And for comparison, I do have a coupling that has sat on my table for about 5 to 6 months. It's been cleaned and handled and just sitting out in the open. I'm going to consider this my control because this is what would happen over a period of 5 to 6 months in a fairly moderate humidity environment. The first 24 hours with the salt water did not provide results that I was looking for. I decided that I wanted to try partially submerged, so I just poured out some of the salt water solution, so half of the coupling was sitting in the solution and the other half was sitting outside of it, and I was really surprised with the results. Vinegar and salt did provide a blue coloring to the barrels, but any salt crystals on the surface, it just wiped the blue away. The submerged one started to show some gray coloring around the edges. Not too much more happened with the bluing on the one on the lid. But after a week in the solution, now the ammonium hydroxide really did surprise me. I got the blues from the vinegar and the salt, and it immediately started to darken and turn the copper a black color. In the 72 hours one, various shades of blue show up here. I do have to say the eggs surprised me the most. The blues were more subtle and it had a more brown tint to it from the sulfur. But after 72 hours, we got oranges and reds and different values of blue. Now for my favorites. I really liked all of the ammonium hydroxide couplings. They all turned out great with varying ranges of dark coloration and varying values of blue. I did go ahead and clear coat all of these, which just helped to unify everything. My favorite of all of these four methods has got to be the sulfur ones. I did get yellows to reds and different values and shades of blues and browns. The one thing though with the sulfur ones is you do need to refresh the eggs periodically, otherwise they'll lose their effect. And the jar is just generally more moist, so the vinegar and salt solution that's on the barrel does not show up as well, with very fewer and subtler blues.